This video is about the German Air Force of World War II, the Luftwaffe, and the aircraft that helped shape its early successes, with special focus on one of its most unusual and influential long-range aircraft, the Focke-Wulf FW-200 Condor, developed by Focke-Wulf. When World War II began in 1939, Germany entered the conflict with an air force that was modern, highly trained, and built around the concept of fast, coordinated warfare. Unlike the air forces of World War I, which had largely been used for reconnaissance and limited bombing, the Luftwaffe was designed to operate as an integral part of Germany's new doctrine of blitzkrieg. This doctrine relied on speed, surprise, and coordination between air and ground forces. Aircraft were not meant to fight separate wars in the sky. Instead, they were intended to support rapid ground offensives, disrupt enemy communications, and destroy resistance before it could organize. Fighters, dive bombers, and medium bombers worked together to create local air superiority. When German forces invaded Poland and later Western Europe, this approach proved devastatingly effective. Enemy airfields were struck early. Communication lines were attacked. Ground forces suddenly found themselves isolated, exposed, and unable to respond quickly. The Luftwaffe became one of the most important tools of Germany's early war strategy. But while many people associate the Luftwaffe with aircraft like the Messerschmitt Bf 109 or the Ju 87 Stuka, the air war of World War II was not fought only over battlefields and cities. A massive and often overlooked struggle was unfolding far out over the Atlantic Ocean. This was the Battle of the Atlantic. Britain depended heavily on maritime supply routes. Food, fuel, raw materials, and military equipment all had to cross the ocean in convoys. Without these shipments, the United Kingdom could not continue the war. German naval forces, especially U-boats, were tasked with cutting these supply lines. However, submarines alone faced a major limitation: the vastness of the Atlantic. Convoys could disappear into enormous stretches of ocean. Without accurate reconnaissance, submarines could spend weeks searching without finding targets. Germany needed aircraft that could patrol huge distances, locate convoys, and guide U-boats toward them. This is where the Focke-Wulf FW-200 Condor entered the story. Originally, the Condor had not been designed as a military aircraft at all. Its origins lay in civilian aviation. It had been conceived as a long-range airliner capable of crossing continents and oceans. In the late 1930s, long-distance flight was still an emerging field, and aircraft capable of intercontinental travel represented cutting-edge technology. The Condor was sleek, elegant, and built for endurance rather than combat. It featured a long wingspan for engines and the ability to travel vast distances without refueling. Before the war, it had even been used for long-distance demonstration flights, showcasing Germany's growing aviation industry. But war has a way of transforming civilian technology. When the conflict expanded, the need for long-range reconnaissance aircraft became urgent. The Condor's ability to remain airborne for extended periods suddenly made it incredibly valuable. It was adapted into a maritime patrol and anti-shipping aircraft, transformed from airliner into long-range military platform. This transformation was not perfect. The aircraft had never been designed for the stresses of combat operations. Its structure was relatively fragile compared to purpose-built bombers. Early crews even joked that rough landings could damage the fuselage. Yet despite these limitations, the Condor filled a critical gap. Its range was its greatest strength. From bases in occupied France and Norway, the Condor could patrol enormous areas of the Atlantic Ocean. It could locate convoys hundreds or even thousands of kilometers from land. Once a convoy was found, the aircraft could shadow it, transmit its position, and direct U-boats toward the target. In this role, the Condor became a force multiplier. Convoys that once relied on the vastness of the ocean for protection could now be tracked from the air. Submarines no longer had to rely purely on chance encounters. Instead, they could be guided directly toward shipping routes. The coordination between aircraft and submarines became a defining feature of the early Battle of the Atlantic. At times, the Condor also attacked shipping directly. Early in the war, many Allied ships lacked sufficient anti-aircraft defenses. Merchant vessels were not heavily armed, and air cover over the mid-Atlantic was extremely limited. Long-range fighter escorts simply did not exist yet. This created a dangerous gap known as the Mid-Atlantic Gap, where convoys had little protection from air attack. The Condor exploited this vulnerability. Flying long patrol missions over the ocean, crews searched for isolated ships and convoys. When targets were found, bombing attacks could be carried out. Even limited damage could slow ships, making them easier prey for submarines that would arrive later. British Prime Minister Winston Churchill famously referred to the Condor as a major threat to Atlantic shipping, highlighting the anxiety it created during the early war years. Yet the aircraft's weaknesses never disappeared. Because it had been adapted from a civilian design, the Condor lacked the structural strength and defensive armament of heavier bombers. As the war progressed, Allied defenses improved. Convoys received better anti-aircraft guns, long-range escort fighters entered service, and radar technology advanced rapidly. These developments began to close the mid-Atlantic gap. Long-range patrol aircraft from the Allies started hunting submarines and reconnaissance planes alike. The skies over the Atlantic became more dangerous. The Condor, once operating with relative freedom, now faced increasing opposition. Losses rose, missions became riskier, and the aircraft's limitations became harder to ignore. Meanwhile, the broader air war was changing. The Luftwaffe had been designed primarily for short, intense campaigns in Europe. As the war expanded into a global conflict, Germany faced enemies with far larger industrial capacity and production capability. The demands of multiple fronts stretched resources thin. Aircraft production had to focus increasingly on fighters and defensive aircraft to counter growing Allied bombing campaigns over Germany. The role of long-range maritime patrol aircraft gradually diminished. By the later stages of the war, the Condor was no longer the dominant presence it had once been over the Atlantic. Yet its early contributions had already shaped the course of the maritime war. For a crucial period, it helped Germany project air power far beyond the European continent and threaten the lifelines that kept Britain in the fight. The story of the Condor reflects the broader story of the Luftwaffe itself. In the early years of World War II, innovation, coordination, and surprise allowed Germany to achieve rapid successes. Aircraft designed for one purpose were adapted for another. New strategies emerged quickly. For a time, this flexibility created powerful advantages. But as the war continued, technological competition intensified, industrial capacity became decisive, and the strategic balance shifted. The skies grew more contested, the oceans more defended, and the early advantages began to fade. Yet the legacy of the Luftwaffe and of aircraft like the Focke-Wulf FW-200 Condor remains an important chapter in the history of aerial warfare and the global conflict that reshaped the 20th century. While Germany used the FW-200 Condor to hunt convoys, the Allies needed an aircraft capable of doing the opposite, protecting shipping, hunting submarines, and closing the deadly mid-Atlantic gap. The B-24 became one of the most important aircraft in that mission. Unlike many bombers designed primarily for strategic bombing over land, the Liberator's long range made it ideal for maritime patrol. It could fly vast distances over the Atlantic, escort convoys, and search enormous stretches of ocean for German U-boats. This changed the balance of the Battle of the Atlantic. Early in the war, Allied convoys were most vulnerable in the middle of the ocean, far from land-based air cover. U-boats and long-range reconnaissance aircraft could operate there with relative freedom. The arrival of long-range Liberators meant that gap was finally closing. Equipped with radar, depth charges, and improved navigation systems, B-24 crews could detect submarines on the surface, track them, and attack before they could escape beneath the waves. The presence of these aircraft forced U-boats to remain submerged for longer periods, drastically reducing their speed, range, and effectiveness. What had once been a hunter's advantage slowly turned into a dangerous disadvantage. By extending Allied air cover deep into the Atlantic, the Liberator helped secure the sea lanes that kept Britain supplied and allowed the Allied war effort to continue. In the vast air-sea struggle of World War II, the long-range patrol aircraft became just as important as the ships they protected. If you appreciate restored historical footage and stories like this, make sure to subscribe to History Safe. Your support helps keep these rare moments from the past alive and accessible. Don't forget to like the video, leave a comment, and share it with others who love history. Every interaction helps History Safe uncover, restore, and bring more forgotten footage back to life. Thank you for watching and stay tuned for more incredible history.